we're gonna go from here. This is not a love seat. This is a solo seat. Make sure it look okay. Such a one person. Keep my forehead not. Yep. Talking to the camera. Definitely not good at this. Okay. Good morning. My name is Amanda Nallman, and I am finally going to try and point this camera at myself and talk to it. I'm used to just sitting behind a microphone. I'm a co-host of the Rodeo podcast and normally don't really need to care about what I look like or do in front of a camera. So this is something new for me. I've always wanted to do it. I bought this camera a few years ago with the purpose of doing stuff like this and just never found the time with my real job. I'm just gonna force myself to do it. The reason why I'm doing this video is because I did the Los Padres Traverse FKT segment last week on Wednesday, and I'm not gonna tell you about it here. I had two friends that filmed a lot of it, and I had a GoPro while I was out there, and my friend Nick Nelson is editing a video together about that whole attempt and the ride and how the day went. So that's not what this is about. I kind of wanted to put this little video together as an aside to kind of my nutrition and hydration strategy for that event specifically, and kind of in general about how I figure out how to calculate this stuff for a long ride, any long ride really that's going to take a while. One thing I really suggest doing if you're trying to figure out nutrition, hydration, planning stuff is just to start keeping a notebook. And the reason for that is your tastes change, the kind of rides that you're doing change. Your strategy should kind of always be evolving based on the needs of your body and course conditions. Pretty much any kind of ride you're doing, you should keep track of the information on stuff that's useful to you or stuff that completely didn't work at all. So I have this notebook. It's got a lot of notes in it on different events that I've done in the past, and I tried to do before and after, like what my plan looks like, and then I make some notes about what didn't. Okay, so here's an example from Mid-South from last year. And you can see I wrote in brown, and then in pink are kind of like the takeaways. I kind of like what I wrote last year, so I'm just going to give you an example. Next time, if there's a muddy forecast, probably best to rely on the backpack instead of bottles because of ease of access. I ignored this for less weight on the back, but the bottle tops were so dirty that it was tough to drink from. So just little things like that that honestly I don't even remember sitting here right now because it was 11 months ago. And so just to be able to keep notes like that, so if I had gone to Oklahoma next month, I could look back and say like, oh yeah, I'm just going to do a backpack this year because I see rain in the forecast, because I remember last year it was just too hard to reach down and grab bottles and it was disgusting and I didn't want to put my mouth on that. Just an example of why I find the notebook to be useful, especially if you're just thinking about coming back and revisiting these events or doing similar distances, things like that. I did the Los Padres Traverse. This was unsupported. It was kind of all on me to carry everything that I needed, and that is calories and liquids. So for starters, yeah, let's just start with the liquids. So this is the Orange Mud Endurance Pack, and this carries a 2-liter Hydro Pack bladder, which goes in its own compartment back here. You bring the hose across either one of your shoulders and you can loop it through these straps, and then you're set to go with about 70 ounces of liquid, 2 liters. And then the great thing about this pack is there's these 2 pockets on the front that are huge. And so in one of them I put this 17-ounce collapsible Hydro Pack bladder with the Orange Mud logo on it. Yeah, 17 ounces. So I had 2 of these. One of them I put in the back middle jersey pocket, and then one I put right here in this shoulder, and the straw just comes up right here and you can access it the same place as the other straw. So super easy, really convenient. The fact that it collapses And these small ones I love because I can just finish it, put it away, switch it with the other one, and then it's not taking up a bunch of space like a bottle would. So I had the 2-liter bladder, I had a 21-ounce bottle, a 26-ounce bottle, which is just the taller one of that, and then 2 17-ounce bladders, which if you add that up is about 151 ounces if you want to be specific, but that was all the liquid that I carried, with the intention of doing some refill. I had a filter that I brought with me along with a empty larger bladder like this from Hydro Pack. And so the filter screws onto the top here, you turn the bladder upside down and it filters the water through the tip of it. And I carried that with me in my backpack the whole time, and I didn't end up using it. And that's just specific to the fact that it was an average temperature of 39 degrees that day. It was cool. I could get away with less. In normal temperatures, normal circumstances, there's no way I could have gotten away with that few ounces. And so what I do when I'm trying to figure out liquids for an event like this, a lot of times I'm going based off of the time that I want to finish at, and then like, not worst case scenario, but if things start to go wrong, how long I would think that was going to take. So the range I was working with here was about 8 hours to 10 hours, and knowing that 8 was extremely optimistic and 10 was I wouldn't be happy with, but more realistic because it was going to be cold and I was potentially going to be walking through a lot of snow. 150 ounces for 10 hours would mean 15 ounces per hour. And that's not ideal for me because my sweat rate's crazy high. Probably going to be a little dehydrated towards the end. But to me, that was worth it to not have to stop, take out the bladder, filter the water, waste all of that time messing with that when I knew I was losing sunlight. So I made that decision at that water trough to just keep going and hope that the descending and the cool temperatures, I was going to be fine and not totally cracked at the end. So that was liquids. I put 2 noon tabs in the bladder. There are 300 milligrams of sodium in each tab. And then in each collapsible bottle or the regular Monster Hydro bottles, I had this noon hydration mix. This is not a sponsor, it just happens to be a product that I'm using that I think is worthwhile because it has 380 milligrams of sodium per scoop, which is quite a bit for these drink mix companies. That's on the higher end. So I like that it packs a punch. It's only 60 calories per scoop. So I put 2 in my tall bottle and then 1 each in one of those others. So that gives me 300 liquid calories total from just all the stuff that I had put on me. So that being said, if it was going to take me, I wrote on here 9 to 10 hours, that's 2,250 to 2,500 calories that I needed to bring. And if I take the 300 out of that, that was in liquid form on me already, that's about 2,000 to 2,300 that I needed to work with. So basically it just becomes a math problem after that. And whatever you choose to fill in those calories with should just be things that you're normally used to eating on your ride. This is kind of an assortment of the stuff that I brought with me. And when I'm trying to figure out what I need to plan, I write down, I just start adding up the calories of stuff I'm stuffing in my pockets and in my backpack and the things that I'm going to bring with me. And so for this ride, I had this package of gummy worms, which is 400 calories. Then I had 5 of these. One of them I had before I started. I had some of this to kick off the event. Always gets me going. Nice little booster at the beginning. I brought 4 of these. It's the Sizz Double Espresso, and I brought 4 of these, which is the untapped salted cocoa. Gluten-free Oreos, not Oreos. They call them chocolate vanilla cream cookies. I have these Ziplocs, and in these Ziplocs I put 2 of the UCAN bars and 2 Oreos in here and I had 2 of these with me and just put those in my back pocket, so those were easy access. And it was like, that was a chunk of calories that I could grab half of and just, you know, stuff it in my face and keep going without having to worry about taking little bites. That was what I brought with me. What I took, what I ended up consuming obviously is always different than what you planned, but that's why we do this exercise. I ended up consuming 3 of the Sizz gels, 3 of the maple packets, 5 of the UCAN bars, 4 of these cookies total, and this whole package of gummy worms, which ended up being 2,030 solid calories plus the 300 liquid calories, which gave me 2,330 total that I consumed on that ride. Just enough, essentially, to get the job done that I needed to for that. All of these products, that's what I use because it works, and so that's kind of why I wanted to do this video, was just give you an inside look at what I do and kind of the quick math that I do to make it worthwhile. Sodium's a whole nother can of worms. I have an Excel spreadsheet where I put all this information in and make sure that I have enough sodium that I'm making up for in what I'm consuming throughout a long event like this. And yeah, just to make sure that I have it covered. The biggest piece of advice I can give you is just to try things and practice it. And everybody always wants to know, like, oh, what did you eat and drink? Because that's probably the secret formula, right? And it really isn't. It's just whatever works for you. And I think that that's really the only secret that I can share, is keep track of what you are eating and drinking and don't change it on the day of your big event or big ride. And know that whatever normally works for you in training should work for you on that day as well. And don't pick up the stuff that's in your registration bag and think like, this is probably going to be it. Like, I'm going to take this gel, even though you take the gels that you normally do or whatever normally works for you, and throw it to the side because this somehow is going to be the new magic. It's not. I think I rambled enough. Hopefully I can pull something from that that's useful. I'm sorry if... No, I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry for anything. You're just going to take this information and you're going to be like, wow, that was useful. And yeah, tell me what else you're interested in. I'd like to make more of these videos, not just what I'm eating and drinking, but kind of any other questions that you have that you think would be worthwhile for stuff that I plan, ride, equipment, any of those things. I really don't know what I'm doing with this. I'm just trying to push out some useful information and not care too much about what it looks like or how I feel about it, and just kind of know that, yeah, somebody can take something good away from it. So I hope to do more of it. Let me know what you're interested in, and yeah. This is not okay. This is not okay. I'm sorry. This is not okay. This is embarrassing. What are you doing, Walter? Get off of me. Okay, we're done.